What's up, everyone? Dr.D here, and today, if you can't tell, we're going to be talking about shoes. Now, this is one of the most highly requested questions I always get is, what shoes do you wear? How do you pick a good DDR shoe? And all of these questions. And I'm going to try to answer all of this and more in this one-take video. So we're going to get started. So first, I'll answer the question I already said I'm asked. What shoes do I wear? And these are the current shoes that I am wearing. These are Nike Legend React Odysseys. So Nike React. You can look it up yourself, and these are the ones that I've been using for about 1 or 2 months now, and I gotta say it's probably my favorite shoe as of yet. So how did I get to picking this shoe? Well, let me tell you this. Shoes and me go back a long time. I have about 6 pairs of shoes on the table right now. I could probably double this if I picked up all the shoes that I've thrown away that I've tried for DDR. I'm not even kidding. Shoes are incredibly important for me in DDR, and I spend way too much time obsessing and thinking about it. And hopefully all of that work I've done is going to help you out and save you some time and hopefully some money. So how do you pick a good DDR shoe? Well, there's some common sense ideas that definitely do apply. And that would be, they gotta be lightweight. So of course, it's not necessarily the lightest you can get is going to be the best, but definitely lightweight is pretty good. This is a shoe that was really popular back in the day, the Minimus, New Balance Minimus, and they had 2 versions of these. They had the Velcro straps like I have, and they also had the laced up ones. A lot of players like Little Matt used them back in the day, and yeah, they were quite popular for a while for ITG and DDR. Personally, I ended up not liking them because then we're going to talk about the second thing. So first thing, how heavy they are. They have to be lightweight enough because DDR is a stamina driven game. You might be able to do well in a short period of time, but keep in mind your sessions might last 3 hours, sometimes even more. Lifting up 1 kg, shoes aren't that heavy, but let's just use for reference a 1 kg shoe. You had to lift it up, maybe you can do it. But if you had the exact same scenario, doing the 1 kg shoe for 3 hours versus just 1.2 kg shoe, even though it's a little bit of a difference, like you are literally doing 20% more work at the end of your session. So definitely helps in stamina wise to have a lighter shoe, something that's comfortable. So that comes down to number 2. And how does it fit? Fitting is probably one of, if not the most important aspects of your DDR shoe. Now, I know that I'm definitely an outlier on this topic. I know that people, they can just be in socks, they can be in anything, they can just slip something on and go. I can't do that. No way. So the reason why I didn't really love these too much was because I had the Velcro straps. Now the Velcro straps meant that I wasn't able to tie it in a correct way to my foot. So you'll notice that all of these shoes, one thing that they have in common is that they have, I guess what I would say, deep lace lines. Like they really go down almost to the toe. Because for me, I need it to be snug in all places. And that's incredibly important for me when I am picking out my DDR shoe. Now the problem is I get it so snug that eventually they do start ripping apart at the seams and getting all stretched out, and then I gotta get a new one. So I guess we can label this 3. How often should you change your shoes? I would recommend, well, let's take a step back. Your DDR shoes should only be used for DDR. I never ever wear my DDR shoes anywhere except when I'm at the arcade or playing ITG at home. Why do I do that? It extends the life of your shoes. I've already told you I go through shoes very often. They usually start stretching out, ripping at the seams. So I would not do anything that would increase the likelihood of my shoe being deteriorating over time, because just common use walk is going to do a number on it. So I try to avoid that as much as possible. When I go to the arcade, I always have my shoes in my backpack. I only use my shoes when I'm at the arcade. Not a lot of players do this. I do it. And then back to number 2 about how well it fits. Fitting is incredibly important for me. It's kind of a running joke. Maybe some of you don't know this, but I never wear one pair of socks. This is very unique to me. I know of no other player who does this. And it'd be funny if I could start a trend where people start doing this, but almost always I wear 2 or even 3 layers of socks on just even one foot. Now, why the hell would I do that? Because I want it to be snug in all places. Oh, well, Dr. D, just get a smaller size. No, 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 no. You see, if I got a smaller size, it would be really tight here. What I'm looking for is snugness in all places, especially around my toe areas. Because my principle, when it comes down to my shoes, they have to be an extension of my feet. I can't feel that they are a separate entity. If there is any wiggle room for my foot to move inside the shoe, I completely feel disassociation between my footwear and my feet. And if I don't have that connection, I lack timing. I lack perspective. Maybe that's not the best way to say it, but I definitely don't feel right until my shoes are just completely conform to my feet. And if I layer up the sock so it artificially tightens it, then at least I know that my foot is moving with my shoe. I prefer I wouldn't have to do that, but unfortunately the shoes that I tend to like usually are looser in places that I'd rather be tighter, and so it be. And speaking about size, generally like here's my foot size. I usually wear like an 11 to a 12 for normal footwear, but for DDR shoes, I wear a 10 or a 10.5. Yeah, and sometimes when I buy my DDR shoes, it will be tight at first, but I know that's going to loosen up over time. No matter how you buy your shoes, they're going to loosen up over time. So if they're a bit snug, maybe deal with it for a few weeks, and you might find that they loosen up to something that's really comfortable. Where if you find something that fits perfectly, a few months down the line, it might get a little bit too loose, and then you're going to be running into the issue that I do, and you're going to have to layer up those socks. Alright, so we talked about a few points, and I definitely lost track and number of them. I might eventually redo this video. I just really want to do this video real quick because how often I get asked it. But I might do a more detailed breakdown in the future, but this is more of a free-formed talk. Alright, so forgetting about the numbers, what next? So once again, how light they are, and like these shoes were pretty heavy. I like them overall, but the problem was like they really weighed me down over time. So a lot of people say like, is there a best brand? And honestly, no. When I try to find new DDR shoes, I'm not just in the Nike section, in the Puma section, which I used to use Pumas, not the tapers. Those are really famous. Actually, I do have Puma tapers here. I should show them off. But it's not all of that. What do I look for? I'm never just looking for the brand. The brand is not important. I don't care if Crocs made a shoe that I thought would be good for DDR, I would get that. I don't care about the price. If it's going to be a good DDR shoe, I will pay top dollar for it. So what I really care about is the next point. And that all comes down to the grip. Now, grip is probably... Now, I've just been really talking about comfort, like the shoe size and like the weight of the shoe. But now when it actually comes to the one job that I absolutely need the shoe to do, it needs to have a flat bottom and a good grip. Let's take a look. That's why I was originally attracted to the the Minimus New Balance series in the first place, because I knew right away with all of these points of contact that it was going to be pretty grippy, and for the most part it was. Whereas the other shoe I told you that weighed me down for a while, look at that. You see, that is not ideal, and it's like, this is an expensive shoe. This was a Nike, and I think it cost me like $120, and guess what? I lost I lost it all because in the end I didn't like this for DDR. Which is why it stresses me out so much whenever I'm trying to go new DDR shoe shopping. Because on one hand, I would like to stick to what I know. I have this shoe right here. I used this for quite a while. If you've seen my videos in the past few years, I think I used it towards the end of 2014 and a lot of the beginning of DDR Ace. A lot of MFCs in these shoes. But the point is that I bought this same shoe like 3 times. This is the New Balance Fresh Foam Lante, or Zante, Z-A-N-T-E, V3. And I also had the V2 at one point. But they were pretty much similar. And why did I keep buying it like 2 or 3 times? Well, because sometimes I just want what I know is going to be consistent. Sometimes it's just too scary to buy something new because I know that sometimes when I buy something new, I might buy something that's expensive and it might not even do the job I need it to do. But hopefully my tips and tricks are going to help you prevent from that. And again, this is very subjective. And I know that personally, the way that I prefer to have my shoes is not like a lot of people. It really is quite unique. No one else layers up socks. No one else cares as much as I do about a flat sole and bottom and grip. No one cares about how well you can lace it up and feel tight and snug around all edges. So does that mean that I'm wrong? Am I right? Honestly, I don't know. I'm just trying to tell you my perspective and what I go for. So this is what I did grab the shoe to show you though. Look at that flat bottom. Look at all of those points of contact. Look at the rubber sole. It's extremely grippy, has lots of contact. And the reason why I like that is because I don't like the sliding feeling. So if this was the pad, if your shoe steps, I don't like it to slide. You know, so you can imagine I hate playing with baby powder on the pad. Yeah, absolutely. But I like it when my shoe hits the pad that it's firm. And the reason why, I feel that connection to the pad. If I feel any slippage, I feel that I don't have control. And when I don't have control, I'm crazy. But I'm still in control. Okay, that was a terrible pun. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I should edit that out. But definitely, I do feel that if I have any slippage or anything like that, it's always going to result in me feeling that I can't marvelous attack or I don't have good control. I can definitely see the advantage in it in like ITG where you're just like trying to like hit it and you're not caring about accuracy. But if I'm going for accuracy, I need it to be planted when I step. So that's why I always get a flat and grippy bottom for my shoe. You might even see, and some people might call it disgusting, I'm always wiping my feet, or my shoes should I say, during sets. And if I don't have a tissue nearby, I just use my hands because no matter what, I just got to get all the dust off. I just got to get it so that it's grippy because as soon as I start getting that slip, I'm done. All right, let's take a look at some of these other ones. This was one that I really thought had good potential. It's probably the lightest out of all of these. And you can tell it's light because they even cut out some of the material just so that it can. It's a mesh material, so it'd be lighter. And the bottom definitely looked promising. It's a lot better than the other Nike one that I showed you. This is also the Minimus Vibram. I'm not sure if it has another, but it's New Balance Minimus Vibram. And overall, I did like it, but there's just something about it. Maybe it's just too squishy, and it just wasn't. It wasn't sturdy enough. Like I like the weight, but I didn't feel that like the shoe. Like it made me a little bit afraid to go hard in because I'm like, oh no, I'm like destroying this shoe, and especially with crossover patterns and stuff like that, it was just a non-starter. So it's kind of another shoe that I barely used, and I kind of wasted a lot of money. So hey, this is like over $200 just like down the drain, guys. Which is why your donations do help. All right. So now these are. So I'm putting these 3 shoes away. These are the ones that I didn't like the most. And I've already extensively showed you and talked about these ones. So that brings us down to the last 2, my current one and the one that I used before it. And I will say that these 2 are my favorite shoes as of yet. And they're quite similar, as you'll see. So first, when I knew I didn't want to keep doing this one because I went through 3 of these pairs, they really get worn down fast, and this one isn't even as bad, but like usually like this completely rips open. But I know it was about to get to that point, which is why I changed shoes. I knew I needed to try something different, and I was looking at Pumas, Nikes, New Balance, Reebok, Skechers, you name it. I was looking at everything until this one caught my eye. Now this one is normally it's a shoe that I wouldn't go for because it has a particularly high heel. You can see it's pretty thick, but I did like the feel of it because it has a little cushion here. I'm not sure if it's coming up real nice or not, but it definitely has a lot of give. And the reason why I like that with this shoe, it gives me that bounce. And that's especially good for streaming stuff and like faster BPMs. Where like a flatter shoe or like with like no bounce or whatever, like it's going to be hard hitting every time you go down. Where something with like a little bit of a cushion, it's going to bounce you back up just that little bit and make doing a fast stream just a little bit easier. And I definitely felt that like day one when I tried out these shoes. And at first they were not as grippy as I would have liked. You know, it's got more of like this jagged pattern. It's definitely not as grippy as this one. But over time, I wore it down. And this is another tip that I do have, and that is, I know I told you always wear it for DDR to save the life. All right, but you can wear it at first, like maybe the first 1-2 weeks, just so that you can kind of scuff up the bottom a little bit, so that you can kind of break it in a little bit easier, and then it becomes your all-time DDR shoe. So let's just clarify that right now. But no, it definitely was. It was lightweight. It was good laced. I can get it pretty done. I still was pretty tight. Sorry, I was still pretty loose in this area, which is why I have to, like, for this shoe I had to wear 3 pairs of socks. 3, count them. Watch my videos. 3 pairs of socks just to make this feel right, and that was kind of getting annoying too. And yeah, and even with 3, and by the way, it never just starts at 3, and you can see it's starting to like tear open there. It never starts at 3. It's like always like 1, maybe 2, and then it changes from 2 to 3, and then like if you're at 4, it's like, come on, it's time for a new shoe. And when I was wearing 3 socks and this started feeling loose, I knew it was time for a new shoe. But I knew I liked it. After I scuffed this up a bit, it had the grip, it had the lace. Wearing the socks gave me the fit, and I had the bounce. It was good. And I almost bought the same exact shoe again until I found this one. Now, I haven't shown this one up close personal yet, and I don't think I've shown it close and personal anywhere. But here you go. So right away, you'll notice that they are quite similar. Of course, they are both Nikes, and they are both from like so this one was the Nike Odyssey. This is React Odyssey. I believe that's what it's called, Nike React Odyssey, and I still highly recommend this shoe. But then I changed to this one, which was the Legend React from Nike, and it's quite similar, as I said, to the Odyssey. You'll notice a few differences. Like this one is like, let's focus. Come on, there we go. This one's like all rubber, where this one has like a plastic lip right here. And this side's like almost identical. And instead of a mesh pattern on the top, it's just one fabric. And the lace is about the same. Alright, so almost identical. But the advantage with this one is I only have to wear 2 pairs of socks. And the lacing up feels just fine. And to be honest, they really feel similar. But maybe I'm just biased to liking this one a little bit more because it's so new that I feel like I can go a lot harder in this. Where, like, that's another reason why you should change your shoes often. And that's because, like, you never want to feel restricted by your shoes. Like, once they start, like, breaking and getting loose, I notice that, like, subtly, I start to, like, not go as hard, or I try to be a little not as, like, intense. I try to hold back because I'm worried for my shoe. But in fact, you should never try to be limited by your shoe. So you should be dictating the rules of how you play. And if your shoe's not cooperating with you, it's time for a new shoe. Alright, so quick recap. Personally, again, this is a very personal video. Personally, I like shoes that are light. They got to be sports shoes. I do like a little cushion in my sole. It works well for streams. For the bottom, I definitely like something grippy and flat. Definitely flat. You don't want to have a shoe that has, like, not a lot of contact points like that. And I definitely need the fit to be good, which will usually mean the laces go down very far, not Velcro. And if it's not giving me the fit exactly that I want, I layer it up. 1, 2, 3 pairs of socks, whatever works. And lastly, make sure your shoes last the longest by just using them for dance games and protecting them and just taking good care of them when you're not. And that's my shoe guide. So again, I might eventually redo this video and just do a more a bullet point, but I really wanted to have more of a free form podcast, a video like this one. I do hope it's helpful, and if you do have any questions, please leave it down below. I'll try to answer any questions down below, and I really hope this was helpful. Once again, for the 5th time, this is very personal to how I like my shoes. I do know that a lot of people, like even Chris and a lot of top players, they're not like me. So they found a way to be at that top tier level without adhering to my preferences. So don't think that you have to go by my way. But I do hope that some of the nuggets of information that I did have will be helpful for your shoe shopping endeavor. And that's all I got. Alright guys, thanks for watching, and peace. Hey guys, thanks for watching this video. Be sure to leave a like and a comment down below. If you like what I do and want to be notified whenever I upload or go live, subscribe and hit that bell icon. If you really love me, consider pledging on Patreon to enjoy exclusive benefits. Lastly, keep the DDR discussion going by joining my Discord community, linked below. Thanks again, and peace.